To access the software, open any of your browsers, type the URL given to you. You will be directed to login screen. Enter your username and password. You will be directed to dashboard. Here on the left side you can see the entire menu of the software. On the top of the right hand you have the selection of the project. We will select the project for which we are working, and here it is showing the information of user and the option to log out. We will start with the masters. First comes the company. Here are new companies created with its complete details of statutory details like tax number or CST number or whatever taxation is applicable. Next comes the project. Here we will define details of our project, including its store, its company, who are all the company contact persons, billing address and delivery address. Next comes the project hierarchy. Here we define the complete structure of the project, how and in what phases we are doing the construction. Like we have divided project into 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. For the phase 1 will have sub phases like tower A, tower B, or some blocks like jasmine or houses. Tower is further having the 5 floors, and each floor is having their units. Now these units are in these units, and work template has been attached, which defines the complete VOQ of this phase. From here we can have a VOQ of any of the phases at any level. Next comes the labor group. Here we define a complete group of the labor, like I have electrical labor or painting labor. Actual labor along with this rates is defined, like Beldan and from which rate to which rate, what are the rate applicable. Similar to labor group, we define the machine groups and then the machines. Next comes the work category. Here we define all our work categories like brick work, painting work, excavation work. All the works are categorized into different categories according to their nature. Next comes the work. Here we define complete detail of a work, like what all work is done, what all phases is there, what is its BOQ, work name, its category, its units, per UM quantity, its milestone, measurements, whether at the time of contract billing whether we require measurements or not. If we require, then what all parameters, length, breadth and height. Rates from date to date. Rate can be with material and labor rate. Items. Now to finish this work, what all item in what quantity we require. Like suppose we have said per UM quantity is 100, so we will define that how many bricks are required for 100 cubic feet of this work. Similarly for the labor and machines, and any remarks if we want to enter, and then the same. Next comes the work template. It is basically assembly of the work, like for particular type of flat or particular type of house we can have a same work template, like we have defined the Astro 1, and we have defined the work and its quantity. So all the phases of Astro 1 can have a similar work template. We need not to define a separate work template for each phase. Update work rate. This will calculate the update the rate according to the rate of item and material in the work master. Staff. Here we define all the staffs that are working on the site. Milestone of our projects of our works are defined here. Payment schedule is used for contractor billing, like we can have a payment schedule for the contractor billing, like in case of painting work. When wall putty is done, 10% of payment is released. After first coat, 30% of the payment is released, and likewise we can have a complete payment schedule. The total will not exceed 100. It will save only when the total of these percentages is 100. Next comes the inventory masters. First thing we define here is the store. Departments. Apart from the construction site, we have many other requirements at the site, like for DG set or maintenance or admin office, where we issue materials. So those are treated as the department. We will just simply click on new, and new department and its prefix. Ledger groups. ledger groups are used for financial purposes. It is predefined, and if required, you can add from your side. Ledgers, all the required ledgers are created here. Tax forms. At the time of purchase, we require different forms like C form or road permits, so we can define them here. Do we require to maintain inventory? If yes, do we need to issue the form at the time of PO, like in case of road permit? If required, we will check it. Tax categories, all the different tax categories like VAT 0%, 4% are defined here. Service tax categories are defined. Manufacturers, all the manufacturers from which we are purchasing the, for which brand we are purchasing the material are defined here. Like for cement, we need to have a JP or Ultratech. Inventory units, here we define all our units along with the decimal places, like whether it is in bags, bundles, box, CFT, grams, like that. Item groups, we can now we are categorizing our material into different categories, like it is raw material, it is paint, it is electrical items, wires, likewise. So we are defining those entries here. Items, here we define the actual item, like this is my particular item, this is the group, what is the tax category, purchase unit, issue unit. Now purchase and issue unit can be different, like in case of cement we purchase in metric tons and issue in bags, so we can have the conversion like 1 metric ton equal to this much of bags. Is high value, this item is high value, and so that we can at the time of reporting have separated details of the high value items. Is batch required, whether this is batch wise or not, expiry wise or not. Excisable, if yes, then what is the excise. Is non-BOQ, at the time of issue do we need to check whether this item should have any quantity control or not. Is packing item, when we receive any purchase any item, we get some packing items, like in case of paint we get some bucket, and in case of diesels or that we get some drums. So these are the incomes for us. Items rate, from this date this is the rate. Rate can differ manufacturer wise, also there can be a discounts. Manufacturer, who all manufacturers supply this item are defined here. Opening balance, again for this manufacturer this is the purchase quantity, this is the issue unit quantity, and this rate and amount, and the remarks. Item reorder level, here we will define a reorder level of each of the items. We define here two parameters, max level and reorder level. We cannot purchase item more than the max level, and reorder level, if stock of item go below this level, so you will get a notification that you have to purchase this item. Next come countries, country is defined, state, city is defined, and next is the vendor. In vendor master we define all our vendors and contractors. Vendor code, his name, general details, statutory details like PAN number, ECC number, service tax number, contact person, his designation, contact details. Item groups, now he is vendor, in what all items do he supply, which all category items do he supply, that those are defined here. Items, which all particular items do he supply, we can limit him to the items that he can supply just these items. Agreement rate, if we have any agreement rate list with the vendor, then that is defined here. Simply we will define the agreement rate list in the master and attach it here. Next comes the agreement rate list. Now we have used agreement rate list in the vendor, but how it is defined? It is defined from here. Name of agreement rate list. What all item group? Suppose we say electrical, and discount of 10%. Now whenever this price list is applicable to any of the vendors, any electrical item purchased will have a discount of 10%. Similarly we can limit it to the particular item. we can define it a particular rate, like switch 16 ampere for this manufacturer will have rate of this much and discount of this much. So my net rate will be 50 minus 10%. Next comes the project transactions. Monthly work planning. Here we define the complete planning of a month. What all work is to be defined in particular month is defined here. Like for November 2014, in this phase this work is to be done. This is the contractor and this is the staff. This much quantity is to be done, and what all material and labors are required are also calculated from the masters, and if required you can edit it here. These are all calculated from the work master as we have defined there. We get the complete labor summary for the month and the complete material summary. On basis of this summary we define what all purchases are required. Next comes the daily work planning. Here we define planning of the next day, that coming day what all work we have to be done. In daily planning we define the planning of the next day, similarly to monthly work planning. For this date this was the works to be done, this is the labor summary and this is the material summary. So we can ensure that all the required material is available on the site next day. Daily work progress. Here we define what all progress has been done on the particular date. Like for this date, for this contractor, this work has been done. This is the contractor name, this is staff has checked it, this was the planned quantity picked from daily planning, and this is the consumed quantity. Further we will define the how much labor was consumed and how much material was consumed, so that we can get actual material balance on the site and actual consumptions. Next comes the contract. Here we are defining the contract to the contractor for a particular work. Like contractor has been awarded to on this date to this contractor. Let's make a new contract. This is the date of contract, this is our contractor. Type, whether it is incremental, that we will just enter the amount or the quantity of the work that has been done within this period. Total measurements, where we will enter the quantity of in the total, we will enter the total measurements from the starting from the initial period to till date, and then the previous billing will be subtracted from it. And payment schedule, where contractor have a payment schedule and payment is released as per the payment schedule defined. We will just take a phase work, click on this arrow key. It is not that showing data not defined, that means this work is not there in the BOQ of this phase. Let's check out some other work. Now it has got the data for the phase 2 ester 1. In this phase this work is to be done in this quantity. This is the total quantity is to be done. Rate is coming from the masters. We can change the rate. We can change when we change on the parent phase, it will automatically update on the all the child phases. Further we have options, whether it is rate contract. If yes, then it is on a labor rate or the material rate. In the others tab we will define what all sale tax is applicable, service tax is applicable, if any TDS is to protected retention is there, any mobilization advance is there. If payment schedule is there, then we will enter the payment schedule and remarks, and then click on the save. Our contract will be saved. Next is the contract bill. We have generated the contract, and against this contract we are generating the bill of the contractor. Like what is the till date, which contractor against which contract number, and what is the billing date. Now we are generating bill for this phase, for this work. It is showing all the details. This much work has been done and this rate, and this is the amount. Further we can enter its measurements, like number 3, this much of length, this much of height, this much quantity has been done, and the bill details will show any previous bill if made against this phase for this contractor. Further in others, all the amounts, all the retentions that have been entered in the contract have been calculated. Debit bills. If we have done any excess billing or some bill thing from the billing is to be deducted, we can enter the debit bill payments. From here we will generate the payment of the contractors or the vendors. Just enter the contractor name. Currently there is no record. It will show all the pending bills of this contractor, and we will just enter the payment amount and payment mode and click on the save. Next comes the credit note. Here we release all the hold payments, all the retentions, all this to give some material or secured advance to the contractor. Next comes the purchase transactions. First thing here is the purchase request. It is generated from the site or from store to the purchase department that we want to purchase some of the items that are not originally a part of our BOQ. Staff name, who has generated it, what all items are required, which manufacturer, what is the stock, and how much quantity is required. Next comes the purchase requirement. This shows us the complete analysis of the purchase that we have to do during the specified period or the specified month. Like, we will click on show. It will bring all data from the monthly planning that we have made, and according to the quantities of the items, like what is the planned quantity, what is the purchase quantity, what is the pending indents quantity. Okay, right now I don't have any plannings, so it is showing all 0. What is the reorder level of the item, how much stock we have, according to this how much is the total requirement quantities, what all the pending POs that I have already added but not received, and then the net requirements. From here only I can directly generate the quotation request or the purchase order. Next comes the quotation request. From here we can send a request for the quotation to the vendor. Just enter the item's name and the quantities and the delivery date required. Next comes the quotation. Now we have received the quotation from the vendor, and we will entering its details here, like item name, manufacturer, what all quantity, and what all rate, discount and taxes he will supply. Then further, if there will be any freight or something, then we can define in the other terms. Next comes the purchase order. Now we can directly generate the purchase order without the quotation, or we can even generate it against the quotation. This is one of the POs that we have already made. Date, vendor. If PO is excisable, then we will check this box. If it is a FOR PO, then we will mark it as FOR. In this case it will calculate tender date and according to the GNs. So what all items, for which manufacturer, how many quantity, at what rate, and what discount we have ordered. This much is the tax percentage, and this is my gross amount. We can enter any mark or the quotation number if picked from the quotation. All taxation details, any entry tax is there, rate is there, quality tolerance is there, rate tolerance is there, insurance amount, indent number, validities. Tax form. Now if we require to issue some tax form with this PO, then we can enter the tax form. Like suppose we require some C form or something, so we can enter it here. Other terms, these will come from the project master. If required, it is editable, and same for the contact persons. Now after this my PO has been saved. After this I will receive the item against PO. Just let us add a new GRN on the current date. We have selected the vendor. Now here I have an option of pending POs. It will show me the pending PO of this vendor. Just as I click, it will load all the items, and we just need to enter the build quantity. So it cannot be greater than the balance. So as I have entered the balance, it will make 0. Let us enter the 5. It will calculate all the amounts as entered in the PO. In case if it is my FOR PO, I can edit the rate here, and it cannot be more than the landed rate. All the taxations and freight have come from PO. We can edit it if required. Tax forms, we can select which for tax form number is applicable. If any packing item is there, we can just enter the packing items and then the transportation details. And click on save. Our GRN will be saved. We can just approve it. Against this GRN, we will have a GRN rejection. We will select the vendor, select our GRN, click on show. It will show all the items that has been purchased in the GRN, and we can just enter the current rejection. So it will not allow us to change the rate. It will take rates as entered in the GRN and deduct the quantities. Next comes the purchase invoice. Here we will generate the invoice of the vendor against GRN. We will just click on pending GRN, or we can even generate a PO directly against invoice directly against the PO without having to make a GRN. Let's select the GRN. Here my build quantity will be after rejection. We need not to modify anything. We can just match the amount and click on save. Our invoice will be generated, and further it will be processed for the payments. Next comes the purchase return. Against the invoice, we can have a purchase return like similar to rejections. Material conversion. Now here in many cases, when we purchase an item, like we purchase the wood and then we have to get made the chocolate. So basically purchase and issue items, they get the difference. So here we can just convert them. This is our raw material. This is the manufacturer. This much is the used quantities, and this is our finished materials. So with that much of wood, we have got one door. So likewise my quantity is added. Now my raw material will get deducted from the stock, and this will be added to my stock. So I can issue this door then to the contractor. Next comes the inventory. Now this is the portion from here how we are issuing the materials. First thing is to the contractor. Contractor will give us the indent. The indent is entered here. Contractor name. If only one contract, it is auto selected. Phase name. Indented by who has generated this intent. Any reference number, if any there is any manual sheet number or something. Which item do we require? Now here we are getting the BOQ quantity. It is calculated from the project that we have defined. Already intended quantity that has already been issued against this phase, and this much is the balance. This is the stock, and this is the quantity that contractor requires. Indented quantity can be more than the stock quantity, and then our indent will be saved. After this, we will get a issue button here. Just as we click on the issue, we will have a screen where we will mention the issue date and the quantity that we are issuing at present. Just we will click on save, and this item will be issued to the contractor. Issue to contractor. From here we can check all the issues, and if required to approve, we can approve it from here. Return from contractor. any material if it comes from the returns, so we can enter it here. On which date, from which contractor, from which phase, what item has been returned and in what quantity. Next comes the from the indent from department. Similarly to the indent from contractor, we are issuing it to the department. Now here we will enter department instead of contractor, and there will be no phase, and we will enter item and its quantity. Similarly, item will be issued and then taken for the returns. Indent from project, it is used for when we have multiple projects and item is being transferred from one side to another. We will create an indent to project 2, log into the project 2, issue the item to the project 1, and then project 1 will receive the items. In case of return, again project 1 will return to the project 2 and project 2 will receive the items. Tax form inventory, this is used for having generating our inventory of the tax forms. Like we purchase some of the tax forms from the department, so we can select the tax form, number of forms, starting number, and show, and then save. Next is the report. Like we have a stock valuation. This will give me a stock valuation of my complete data. Like let's select from 1st Jan to current date. We can have on last purchase rate, we can have on the master rate, and the FIFO rate. Now what FIFO rate does is that it will calculate my purchase, it will take my purchase rate and adjust all the issues according to the FIFO basis as per the purchase rate and calculate complete valuation. So it gives me actual valuation of all the items that have been issued, and I can have actual calculation of those things. So now it is showing me my group wise, like electrical, it has this item, this much of the opening balance, this is the rate, this is the valuation, likewise received quantities, issues, and the further the closing balance. Next comes some customized reports that you can add at your end as per your requirements. Let's check out the stock in hand report. It will give me details of what all stock I have. Let's check out some standard features of the reports that we have, like which date we want to check the stock, for which project. Click on search. Now my data have loaded in the grid. Here I can select on any of the columns, like I want to search the particular item. I will just type its name and it will load the data according to the filters. It has shown 2 items matching with this name. Additionally, we can reorder the columns according to our requirements. We can sort on any of the columns. Let's remove this filter once. Here I have removed the filter to check various functionalities. We will just click on the column name and it will sort in alphabetical order. It can be ascending or descending. So we can apply filters, we can reorder the columns, we can do sorting on any of the columns. Additionally, we can directly print a report from here. Additionally, if we require, we can export report to the Excel. We can also select number of columns that we require to print in Excel. We will just select the columns with the control key. All the columns that are in the blue color will be printed, and the other columns will be even removed from the grid. Like I just simply click on this export button and it will open the file in Excel. Now here it is asking me to open the file. I will just open the file and all the data has been shown in the Excel. So what all columns I have selected are being displayed here. So there are some various reports like stock in hand, ledger, stock movement valuation, planning, cancellation, stock movements, consumption summary, achievement reports, and if required additional reports even can be entered at your end.